Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and we are slowly approaching the release of FB06 for the Fusion World card game. We have the pre-release events this weekend and then the full release on the weekend afterwards. So to kind of commemorate that, I do want to go over my initial builds for each one of these leaders. I really want to stress that these are pretty, surface level rudimentary builds that have been kind of just looking at the card pool, not really any testing yet, but I will be testing these and kind of be refining them over the next couple weeks. So these will be changed in this form, and this page will be updated as I do that. Also, I did do a kind of long form stream constructing these decks with community feedback and chatters and stuff. So if you want to see the long form version of this video, you can find it linked in the description. Kind of goes over more of my thoughts when kind of building these decks instead of like kind of my surface level of this video. Here's what I have built and here's kind of why. So make sure to check that out if you guys want to. And again, I had a lot of fun for it. So, but if you guys want any of these deck lists, they can be found on my website, Eggman Events. We do have the FB06 section open right now. It's a little bit bare because we haven't really gotten the release of this format quite yet, but when we do, we'll continue to update it with my own deck list, with tournament data, and also just community data as well. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already, and again, this will be continued to update way past this video's release as well. So anyways, jumping into our first leader, we do have the Aandroidd 18, and this is honestly one of my least favorite leaders for this format. I know it's the one that we're starting off with, but I'm a little bit pessimistic about how good this deck can be. The reason being for it is that we are just kind of learning this kind of like new Aandroidd stuff, which is fine, but I feel like we're missing like either a little bit of power or like a little bit of consistency to make it like really pop, right? Honestly, it's why we're playing 6-drop Goku in this deck. I'm like, do we even need like a top end? Is Fusion Aandroidd 13 worth it in the end? I really just didn't know, so that's why we're playing that. This card could just be just too expensive, not worth it. It's a very strong card, so we put it in the deck, but I really don't know if it really belongs here. But if you guys don't know what this leader does, on the front side it's pretty standard, but on the back side, activate battle your turn once per turn. Your battle cards with Aandroidd and their special traits that are in battle with your opponent's battle cards get plus 20k power for the battle. So it's your turn, it's once per turn, and only battling other battle cards, but that 20k boost is pretty significant for being able to attack over some bodies, which is really nice. We do have it really work well with this Fusion Aandroidd 13 as well. So this says, on play, this character gets plus 25k power for the turn, so it becomes a 55k, and then if you use your first attack into something, you can use your leader effect to essentially make it a 75k with no real other investment. But then has this auto: when this character KOs an opponent's battle cards in battle, you get to switch this card to active mode. This also is not once per turn, so you can really clear your opponent's board if you really want to with this, which can be really strong. But pretty much you have to get, like, if your opponent doesn't get out of the first attack, you get to go through every other attack afterwards, which again is very strong. So other than that, I think this deck is there are some cool synergies with it. I do think part of the unfortunate thing about it too, though, is that you do have to run this Aandroidd 17. So this is a promotional item card, so unfortunately it's not in the main set, even though I think it probably should have been. But on play, if your leader has Aandroidd and its special traits, play up to one battle card with a cost of 3 or less and Aandroidd and its special traits from your hand. So the fact that you get to play out another body is really nice. And then when attacking, if an opponent's battle card is KO'd in battle during this turn, this character gets a plus 15k power for this battle. So it becomes a 40k beat stick for really, like, it's very easy to do this, right? Especially with how the leader effect works, and we can play out some bodies such as like Aandroidd 17 18, which lets you give something minus 10k power for the turn, so like it makes it very easy to bully a card. We also have like the Aandroidd 17, which lets us draw a card. We have the Aandroidd 20, which helps us self-awaken but also gets the minus 10k power, and also the other super rare from the set, it's Aandroidd 16. So when KO'd, you get to choose up to one battle card in your opponent's battle area. It gets minus 20k power for the turn, but the activate main is you get to KO this card in battle and draw one card. So kind of reminds me of like the Vegeta from like Tournament Power Arena, being able to use that to like get like an additional bonus from KOing your card and getting some pressure for it. So you do have to KO something by battle for this effect, but you can essentially make something down to like a 5k and then make it very easy to remove. And then also you can like use your leader's effect to help you on that 3-drop get rid of something. And it doesn't even have to be like if a battle card KO'd a battle card. It's just simply if an opponent's battle card is KO'd in battle this turn, which I think is very strong. So all that aside, like, this gets you a lot of pressure. This puts out a lot of like putting out 2 bodies for 1 is really good. It's from hand, so it's it's a little bit expensive to do that, but I think all that is really good. So part of the reason for that too is, like, 1, we don't have a 1-drop searcher for Aandroids in red, which I feel it's like a bit of a mistake. I feel like that could have used it, but it's a little bit rough that we don't. We do have the Dr. Flap being able to use this. So if your leaders awaken, add up to 1 red battle card with the cost of 3 or less, and Aandroidd and special traits from your drop to your hand. This adds like a good amount of stuff, so this is like a great like late game thing, and also can like refresh a card to be able to get your Aandroidd 17 like another target, which is really nice. We also are running Aandroidd 18, so this is from set 1. On play, look top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Krillin or up to 1 Aandroidd 17 added to your hand. So the reason we're playing this is just to help us find this 4-drop and be able to play it on curve more often. This also can find the 17, 18, this Krillin, which lets you get a, like, make your leader a 30k, and it's also just a 10k you can find off of it, and an Aandroidd 17 too. So I think all of that can be very strong. We also have this 2-drop Aandroidd 17, which helps us self-awaken. I think we have to kind of awaken as soon as possible, try to make a kind of wide board, and then we can just kind of bully our opponent's cards with that plus 20k power boost a lot of the time. So generally speaking, I think this deck does have like a good kind of game plan. I think like the late game is kind of rough. I don't really know if 6-drop Goku is again the play for it, but it's really interesting to see this deck, and to have a deck that's really focused on battle as well, compared to what we normally see where it's just kind of a little bit more simplified. So it's interesting. I don't think it's going to be as strong as maybe some of the other decks we get from this meta, but it's one I've been having a lot of fun theory crafting, and there are a lot of strengths that I see from looking at the cards too. So that is the build here for Aandroidd 18. The next up, you've got Son Goku Childhood, and I think this is the one where there are going to be a lot of different builds at first. There's a lot of different ways to do the combos that you want, and to try to figure out which one is the best will be kind of a decision point, and when we do figure that out, we will kind of maybe get some more solidified effects. But the main kind of thing I know about this leader is that, again, the front side is pretty standard, but on the back side, activate main once per turn. You can discard 1 card from your hand. During this turn, the next time you use an extra with an original cost of 2 or less, you don't have to pay the cost. So being able to just get like sometimes like a free energy, if you want to think of it that way, because a lot of these give us like an additional card draw, is really nice, and lets us do some really cool combo plays, especially in conjunction with the new secret rare that blue gets from the set too. So 35k double strike 5-drop on play. During this turn, the next time you use a non-field extra card with an original cost of 2 or less, after activating this skill, you get to activate that extra's skill again. So you pretty much get some double effects from it, and I think a lot of this deck is going to be kind of revolving around what are the best ways to interact with that. I do think that there is like rock, scissors, paper, which is like a 2-drop version of this. I think this one's just going to be better, even like it's only like a plus 15 versus a plus 25. The fact that we can't use this effect defensively, right? It's only an offensive ability that we get to use. I really do like the fact that Gallic Gun offers more of like a defensive way to be like a plus 15k and use some extra. So I kind of wanted to keep this one instead of rock, scissors, paper, but you guys can use the other one. We have Final Hope Slash because it's the super good card, which also we're running Peel Off, unrelated. Not really, because we have so many blue 1-drop Earthlings still in this game, including Jiran, which is just such a good card for this deck. It's pretty much like a Zamasu that's in Archetype, which is really good, so you just keep that around. We do also have this Cross Arm Dive. This is one I think has the potential to have a lot of early value for this deck. So activate main, return 1 blue card with original cost of 3 or less from your battle area to its hand. Play up to 1 battle card with a cost of 3 or less, and World Tournament and special traits from your hand. So generally what that means is that on like turn 1, you can play a Balma or a Announcer. Either one of these cards can help us search for essentially Cross Arm Dive or others. This one lets you look for an extra. The other one just looks for a World Martial Arts Tournament with a cost of 4 or less. And then after that, we can Cross Arm Dive into either Nom, which is like the thematic one, right? It's 20k, but you also get to take a card from your life to your hand and draw a card. So if it was played by a skill, so that's pretty nice. And then also we do have the Jackie Chun. So on play, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, and end of your turn, if you use an extra with a original cost of 1 or more during this turn, you get to draw a card. So you get to go into Jackie Chun. This lets you get like essentially 2 card draw, 1 from life and 1 from the end of turn. And then if your opponent doesn't get rid of this card, you get an additional card draw every turn, which is really nice. So I think being able to cheat out into that can help you with the deck a lot. You get some free advantage from it too. There's also this is a you'll see why I did this. So I have like this cheese play. All right, here's, you guys ready for the cheese play? So we have this 5-drop Goku, right? We can use the effect to bounce a 2 or less. We can use it to use cross arm dive twice in the late game. So that's why we're playing 2 drops of Masu. The idea is that this card just stays on board forever. It's very, very difficult for most decks that aren't red to get rid of it. And so when attacking, you get to discard 1 card from your hand and then you get to draw 1 card. So the cycle for using your abilities from your field cards and your from your extra cards feel better. And then like if it stays on the board until the late turn, you can use cross arm dive to if you use it with Son Goku Chowder, you get to do this fun play where you bounce the Masu back, you play Nam gets the card draw, you bounce it back again because you activate it twice, and then you can go into Jackie Chun and they get another card draw, right? Something silly. I know it's silly, but I do think that lets you help convert into value into this card later in the game, which is really, really good. So I do think that is nice. The fact that sometimes and this is kind of like my other like metagaming for it, we're not always going to see 1 drop in a cross arm dive, and even if we do, like I think a lot of decks would be able to remove a 1 drop, especially if it becomes meta enough to be strong enough. So having Zamasu as a 2 drop that like even later, so if we want to, we can do something where we play Zamasu on 2, keep it around, attack with it. We can still cross arm dive it back to our hand because it's anything, and then we can upgrade it into a 3 drop, and then either Nam or Jackie Chun gets their value, and then we can keep one energy open for like a Gallic Gun or a Final Hope Slash or something like that. So in general, I think all of that is very, very it has a high potential for being strong. So the other kind of like neat combo, I didn't really like this card the first time I saw it, but the more and more I thought about it, I thought that, you know what, there's some real strength with this. So activate main, draw 2 cards and discard 1 card from your hand, then choose up to 1 battle card in your opponent's battle area and reduce its cost by 2 for the turn. So what this will let us do, let's say we're at 6 energy, we can do something like play Son Goku Childhood, right? Use the effect. So now we are, we discard a card from our leader effect to activate it. Now we are using this card to draw essentially 4 and discard 2. We reduce something a cost by 2 for the turn, and then we can use Final Hope Slash to return anything that essentially that started with a cost of 6 or less back to our opponent's hand, right? So that could be really, really strong for removing a lot of like 5 and 6 cost bodies, right? If Broly ends up being a stronger deck, there's some better ways to even get more in range for that as well. And I think that's something that can be really helpful for some late games against that deck and many others. So this being a 1-drop Earthling and also an extra card that, again at 6, we get to attack like 55k double and then also make it so our opponents, whatever 5 or 6 cost they play, they bounce back to their hand. I think that's very strong. So last card we have is Sleepy Boy Technique. So discard 1 card from your hand, choose up to 2 battle cards at the cost of 5 or less in your opponent's battle area and place them at the bottom of its owner's deck in any order. So this could be really strong for some like removal later as well. And if Broly ends up being like a deck that we need to answer, we just need to get rid of an 8 or less, right? So being able to get like a some additional reduction, right? Like this reducing a card by 2 is pretty good. We also can have like the 1-drop Videl if we need to. And so like the cost reduction would be pretty easy to be able to use this and get Broly into range for getting rid of it with Sleepy Boy Technique. So I think that's strong too. And there's a lot of good synergies with it. This deck is really centered for what I'm thinking is going to be. I think this is going to be one that changes the most of all the builds that I have, but I like kind of like the combos that I have playing, and it's going to be interesting to see what the best combos is for the deck too. So lastly, we've got Chin Shin Han. We only have 2 copies of this in the deck, but it does help us kind of in the mid to late game to refresh our hand, right? Critical 30k, but also on play add up to 2 extras with different card names from your drop to your hand, which means you get to recycle the good cards and be able to then, like, even like worst case, it means you get 2 cards in your hand, you use one of them to discard to be able to play the other one. That's just still really good value in my mind. So we'll see kind of how this deck works, but I think like this can really work well with the idea of something like a Final Hope Slash with like cost reduction with Merry-Go-Round Gum. And I think that can be, again, very, even like on 3, right? Even on 3, if we do something like Merry-Go-Round Gum and then like Jiran, like just get rid of whatever opponent played last turn, I think that can still just be very strong in its own right. So I don't have much more to say about this. I think this was really interesting, and I'm kind of excited to see what the kind of best combos and synergies this deck gets to see in the next little bit. So there we go. Next up, you've got Broly, and this is kind of the big bad boy, I think, for this meta. It has some pretty ridiculous strength, which is pretty apt for anything named Broly. I don't really know. It's honestly, in my mind, this deck's either going to be super good like tier 1 or it's going to be like a little bit middling, and it's going to be kind of in it. Like the thing that it does is a little bit too linear and doesn't do enough. But here's kind of my idea for the deck. So one has a pretty unique front side. So when attacking, draw one, but also end of your turn, add one card from your life to your hand, and then also if we're at 4 or less life, activate main or battle. We get to flip this over to draw one card. So pretty good. So the fact that we like get to awaken for literally like no cost is great. It's kind of unheard of for this game. It's a little bit more common in Dragon Ball Masters, but we haven't really seen an effect this, aggressively awaken centered, which is interesting to see. So already pretty unique from there. And then on the backside, so when attacking, choose one Broly BR in your battle area and place this on your starter's drop. If you have 4 energy specifically, so not like 5 or 6, like it has to be specifically 4, play up to one Broly BR with a cost 1 greater than the card chosen by this skill from your hand in rest mode, and then also activate main, and once per turn, draw one, then discard one card from your hand. So we're not inherently drawing a card every turn, but we also, once we get to 4 energy, we're generally not charging anymore. So it's the same kind of thing, right? We're not generating more card advantage, but we're not losing more of it because, again, we're not charging a card every turn. So the combo from there is that we have 3 4-drop Brolys. We have the uncommon one, the promo one, and the rare one. All of these essentially have ways to make these 7 cost while on the battle area, and then that means you can transform them into an 8 cost. We have all reliable Broly BR, which I think is still worth running. You have to play it rested, but even like the on play draw 1 KO something is really good. And then if it survives, which generally I would expect it to, unless your opponent's like running a lot of like hate specifically against this deck, then you're able to attack with it twice, which is really good. And we also have the new one. So Broly BR, 8-drop, 50k, 5k. So permanent, this card cannot be KO'd once per turn. Then on play, switch this card to active mode. Then if your life is at 2 or less, add the top card of your deck to your life. So the healing factor is really good, especially since we have to aggressively go down to such low life totals. We go down to 4 very quickly, which can be a little bit glass cannony a lot of the times, but also the fact that we get to switch to active mode and attack again is very good. So, and then both of these can either on the next turn go into this 9-drop. So Broly BR double strike 55k 9-drop. On play, switch this card to active mode, then add the top card of your deck to your life. Choose all your battle cards with a cost of 2 or more in their battle area other than this card and KO them. So this gets a lot of value, right? This gets so much value in this deck to be able to like clear boards, right? Being able to heal unconditionally, which is a little bit rare in this game. It is a 9 cost, right? But we are kind of cheating it. And then being able to KO an entire board. It's just really, really good. So it's only battle cards that doesn't get rid of fields, but this does do a lot of damage. So generally my idea for this deck is that we get to 4 pretty quickly. We do have some like ways to help us get there with like the first friend, the instant Kamehameha, the first the things to do, right? We have Planet Vampa, right? Being able to we play this and then we get to get like an additional card draw every turn, which is really good. We have like first friend for essentially this says draw 2, if you really want to think of it that way, for 1, which I think is really helpful. And we're playing instant Kamehameha at 3 copies, so generally speaking, it means that let's say we need to play a Broly on 4 to be able to go up to an 8-drop. It means that we're kind of tapped out on energy, right? But we can do something where we get to 5. We use instant Kamehameha to get rid of one of those, rested ones we used to play Broly. And now we have 4 energy with 3 of them tapped. And the new one that we played this turn is still active. So it just generates an energy in case we need to play things like the Chilai BR or the Ba BR or again, first friend. So I think all of that's very good. We have cards like Paragus to help us on our early consistency. And then we also have this Broly childhood BR to help you get some more advantage from there. So otherwise though, the idea is you play one of these 4 drops, you go into the 8-drop. The next turn you go into another 4-drop to go into another 8-drop. So best case scenario, you still have 2 8-drops left on the field. One of them should be this Broly BR. Because it has this permanent that can't be KO'd once per turn, it's from either player's effects by both turns. So what happens is that, let's say we have one of these Broly BRs and then one of these Broly BRs, one of these and one of each 8-drops. What we can do is that we can do our attacks for the turn, and then from there we can use our leader effect. We get rid of this 8-drop Broly to play out the 9-drop Broly. It's going to try to KO everything, but this one will stay unKOable once per turn, so it will stick around, and now you have an 8 and a 9. So I think that's really strong. I think the worst thing about this deck though is that we're really only presenting one additional body per turn, right? So if your opponent can keep up to pace and remove a body every turn, you just end up with nothing, right? That's I think the biggest fear is that the cards you bring out with this deck are very strong, but then it's like the only thing the linear thing is you're doing like one big attack a turn. You're doing like two medium-sized ones with like the Broly attack, but also the 4-drop. You're generally attacking with it the turn you play it too. But I think all of that is pretty good. So this also is a promo. I think this one's moderately good for the deck. You can do the same thing as like Instant Kamehameha, where you play 5, you play this for 4, you get rid of one of the ones you used to pay for it, and then you still have an energy open. I think that's pretty good, as well as just being a 10k for the deck too. So other than that, I think a lot of people are going to be testing this deck the most. It's very iconic as a character. I think the strength is very good, and it's pretty unique on how like the cheating out 8-drop Broly mechanic works. So there it is there. Next up, we've got King Gomah, and this leader kind of threw me for a loop from like a lot of testing and building standpoints. I really don't know how I feel about it. It's very sequence based. I think that it's a mildly complex for what it is, and I really don't even know how to play it 100% right. So this was probably the one that either I got it on the nose, I'm really wrong with a lot of things, and I'm curious to see how it kind of ends with everything. So real quick, I do have 2 builds. One, using more of the Dr. Arasu for it, being able to play out your Majin Kus and Dus as you were. So that is powerful. And then we took that. We have another version where we don't have that. We're focusing a little bit more on the Neva, being able to like restand a body. And the thing is like look at how many like non-counters these decks are running, right? The fact that have to run these field cards to be able to get value from our leader means that any additional like non-combo cards are extremely expensive, right? Like we're playing 8 additional ones with the Dr. Aandroidd and the King Gomah, and it just feels kind of complex. So, but to go over how this leader works in case you don't know. So when attacking, you place one field that includes Demon Realm or Demon World and its special traits in your battle area into its owner's drop. Play up to 1 battle card with a cost of 3 or less and the same special trait as the field placed in its owner's drop by the skill from your hand. So it's a mouthful, right? It has to be the same trait. So there's 2 different traits. There's second Demon World and first Demon Realm, world for each of those. So most of these cards are first Demon World. So those are the ones that are a little bit more important. But this is like our best turn 1 play because it lets us draw a card and also help us self-awaken, which is really good. All of the good cards are again our first Demon World. So we have to make sure we get Witch's Abode out, our Demon King Palace, which Witch's Abode is like the better one because at least it can do something on play. Demon King Palace, all it does is restand a 4 or less, which is good, right? But it needs like a little bit more of like a setup for the board to be able to do so. And kind of like the best way to do that. So we do kind of have to be like really awakened very early. But if you play Plan of Mega of 1 and then Witch's Abode on 2, you could be awakened on 3, which is maybe saying too much. Like maybe like if you are able to like, I guess you just have to like Plan of Mega for 1, and you can even play this on 3, right? So play this for 3, use the effect, KO something, and then if you're awakened, you attack, you get to get rid of this, right? You play this, you put this into the trash, you get to play this card for free out of your hand, right? Which then lets you play a Majin Du or Ku, but then you can use like either one of these to then attack or something. It also has this activate main once per turn to switch 1 card in your battle area to rest mode, to draw 1, to switch one of your opponent's cards to rest mode. Generally speaking, you need to have a field for this, but you have to pop the field to be able to play this. So like there's some like weird sequencing issues with this too. But I don't think you're supposed to get the draw the turn you play it, but there are some scenarios where you could, even if you play like this on turn 1, right? And then you can like get the rest for it. So other than that, the other kind of big card is King Gomah, right? So on play, draw 1. When attacking, once per turn, if your leader is King Gomah, play up to 1 field that includes Demon Realm or Demon World and your special traits from your drop. So like Dr. Aandroidd on 3 with either Du or Ku, and then like the King Gomah on 4 does apply a lot of pressure. This does let you, essentially attack. When attacking, once per turn, you get to put the field back. So generally you want the Demon King Palace, because then you get to restand your King Gomah. Though when attacking is once per turn, but you're not too upset about that because it's another 30k swing. It can also be like a 25k critical with Majin Du as well. Then you can use this card to like rest it to be able to draw 1, and then you can pop it to play like another Dr. Aandroidd or Majin Du or Ku or what have you, right? Like you can see it like incrementally gets better, but like it's just asking for a lot for just like a lot of clunky cards in the deck. So I do think it's based on off of a lot of sequencing, and I'm not really sure if this deck is going to be viable. It's cool, right? Like when it goes off, it's really, really cool. I'm just not too sure. So we do have like a more like a less like in the archetype version, right? We are playing like a little bit of like the good cards for it, right? But we're not playing like the Dr. Aaron Sue stuff, right? Majin Ku is still like a good card, right? It's a 10k that just is a 30k. It can't be switched to active mode during a charge phase, but that's fine. Just the fact that it's a 30k means your opponent's not going to usually answer it, and there are some ways to restand it later. We also have like the Neva, which is additionally able to get the restand. I do like the Nimba on 3. Lets us like be able to interact with something and then still play a 1-drop for the turn, and then we also have a Vegeta mini Daima. So this is meant for the starter deck, which we kind of went over earlier on this channel. But on play, choose a 2/1 rest mode battle card. It costs a 3 or less. Your opponent's battle area gets KO'd. Then your leader with Daima in its card name gets plus 10k power for this turn, which our leader does have Daima, so we do get that boost for it. So it could be good. This is probably the one that I need like the most testing to even see if it's viable, but I do think there's some really interesting things you get to do with it. If I'm being honest, I don't know if this is better than Majin Buu, which just is a very strong deck right now in general, but there are some really cool sequencing things you get to do with it. So I think like one of the more complex decks for this meta in general, and I'm just, again, these are my builds. These are, again, probably going to change pretty heavily, but these are my first stabs at seeing what's relevant with it. So there it is. And to wrap it up, we've got King Piccolo. And honestly, when I saw this leader, I felt like it's mid. I felt like it was pretty underwhelming a lot of the times. I felt like the deck was like, it was neat, but didn't really have enough going for it. But when I looked at more and more on like deck building and what we can do with it, I got mildly optimistic that this deck can be pretty viable in this meta. Like, I think there's some really cool things we get to do with it. We get to put a lot of bodies on board, even though like the sequencing for it makes it so we can't get like super good value with it, but there's some pretty neat stuff with it. So I honestly, this might be the first deck I actually try to build and play. I think there's some really cool things with it, and let's just jump on into it. So this leader's front and backside pretty unique. So it's a 15k crit, but unlike the Beerus leader that we got from set 1, we don't get the plus 5k when attacking on our turn. It's just always a 15k crit. And then also the Awakening, activate main or battle. When your life's at 4 or less, add the top card of your deck to your life, then flip this over. So we don't even draw on Awakening. So the fact that we don't draw on attacking, we don't draw on Awakening means that we do have a chance of like running out of resources pretty quickly compared to other decks. But then on the backside, we also have this one attacking, draw 1, and then activate main once per turn. Remove one of your energy markers to play up to 1 demon egg from your drop. So a demon egg is this 2-drop non-combo card with exactly 1 power. So any of your turn, place this card in a battle area in its owner's drop. If your leader is King Piccolo, play up to 1 non-King Piccolo battle card with a cost of 3 or less and Demon Clan and its special traits from your hand. So it essentially means that you eventually get into one of these 3 drops, which there are more than I have in these decks. These are just the ones I think are the best ones. But we have Tambourine. This lets us, all these pretty much let us self-awaken, which is good for the deck outside of this drum, which we'll talk about. But I think that really helps us. We have Tambourine, which lets us discard 1 card from your hand. If you don't have an energy marker, you get a play-in marker. So that can help us if we need like an emergency additional copy of 1 to be able to do that. We also do have Symbol. This is probably like the best one to get early before we awaken, but add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, you get to draw a card. So we essentially, this turns into a draw 2. We also do have the Tambourine. This one's really nice because it does let us like, this has like some really good protection. So this card cannot be removed from battle area by opponent's skills until the end of your opponent's next turn. So unless you're playing against red, this card just stays around, which is really nice. And then we also have the drum. So choose up to 1 battle card with a cost of 4 or less in your opponent's battle area, and it can attack during your opponent's turn. So this being able to get like a very good stun, I think is really relevant as well. So generally speaking, your best kind of play is on 1. We want to either self-awaken with Chi-Chi, or you're able to use Piano to help us find our good card. This is the best card to play on 2. It's King Piccolo. So add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, then look at the top 10 cards from your deck. Reveal up to 1 Demon Egg, add it to your hand, then place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order, and then you get to play 1 Demon Egg from your hand. So that does mean that we get to play this out, and then at the end of turn 2 you get to use this effect to be able to play out one of these 3 drops. Likely 1 will help us like self-awaken, and everything will be active. So if your opponent wants to attack at all, you have to attack into me, which means that I get some additional card draw from like I get to awaken that much quicker, and then once we're in like the awakening loop, we're able to just apply a lot of pressure, you know, be able to use some more eggs, be able to play more of these Demon Clan cards, and just keep putting out the pressure. So to kind of tap it off, we do have this 4-cost King Piccolo. So if you have a non-King Piccolo battle card with Demon Clan and special traits in your battle area, this card in a battle area gets plus 20k power, which sometimes this works out very easy. If your board's empty, you kind of like have to sequence it weird where you make a marker, you have to spend the marker after you attack. So that's kind of tough, but the fact that it generates a marker is really nice. I do think that the old reliable Son Goku GT is probably the better card when it comes to just generating markers, because you do get to draw a card whenever you use one. So I think that draw one is just a little bit better than like the plus 20k conditional, which is kind of tough to get all the time. And then we also are running like the 3-drop Son Goku GT. Sometimes we just need to awaken, right? And like if we're in like these weird spots where we're at like 5 life, we can play this card, awaken, then we can use the marker that we generate from it to make a demon egg that we'll likely already have in our trash, and then be able to make a 3-drop at the end of the turn. That's likely like a good combo, and then we go into 4 where we play either King Piccolo or Son Goku GT. So all of these are good. I think these are great abilities, and I also think that there's a good chance for us to be able to either end the turn with an extra energy marker, or have like some ways where we can use something like Hercule GT, our Power Bros, or even like Ultimate Sparking. I think this card is going to be actually really relevant in this set, with a lot of decks, I think, allowing cards to attack more than once. So being able to use Sparking to help you get out of more than one attack for just one energy marker, I think is really, really strong too. So since we have just so many ways to generate these markers, I think it's a good spot to run that card as well. So other than that, I don't have much more to say about this deck. I think it's really linear, but I like understood like what the deck kind of wants to do, but it does some really cool things, and I'm looking forward to seeing if this deck is really viable or not in this meta. So there it is there. But that's going to be it for this one. And again, here are all my deck lists right now. These are going to change as we get more and more into this format, but I've had a lot of fun just kind of doing a lot of theory crafting and seeing what could be viable as well. So I do plan on making another video going over older leaders who got some support from this set, and kind of updating some deck builds too. So make sure to be on the lookout for that one. And again, let me know how you guys are doing with the FB06 meta in general. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.